Okay, hello everyone. Good morning. My name is Natalia Parmenova. I'm Chief Revenue Officer at Beniring. And today we want to talk a little bit about what is actually important for the CPOs. We will be talking about the KPIs for procurement and how we are achieving it with our solutions. But before we start talking, let me introduce Beniring just in a couple of words. Very simple, we are an operational layer above your SAP. I mean, let's face it, 90% of companies in Germany are running SAP as the main system, and it's very, very important not to ignore this system as much as we don't like it potentially, but actually embrace it. So that's what we are doing. What does this mean, operational layer? Well, first of all, we are creating truly one window for any indirect requests, from super vanilla flavor that was just shown on the screen, like a catalog buying, to very complex procurement requests of services, frame contracts, stock requests. So all your requesters, maybe thousands of them, can do it from one window no matter what. Second of all, we are automating in real time compliance checks. For example, cost budget check. For example, actually, if the supply is there. And third, we are creating any document in SAP in real time, not only PRs, but also stock reservations, investment requests, even PM or PS or SD order. So this is what Beniring is doing. And honestly speaking, our company is not super well known. Despite this fact, we do have a very, very large and very big, important companies in Germany that are using our solutions end-to-end. Like, for example, 60,000 users in Deutsche Telekom, or 30,000 users in BASF, or 10,000 users in Rheinmetall. So when I'm talking to our customers, one of the things that they are pointing out, and my last conversation was with the CPO of WACKER Chemie, what is most important KPI for a CPO in indirect procurement digitalization? And Torsten told me point blank, the most important KPI is a no-touch procurement. So what is actually no-touch procurement? Well, it means that number of purchase orders that are coming into procurement system without procurement touching it is a no-touch, right? So at WACKER, with the usage of Beniring, they managed to achieve 90% of no-touch. So basically, users are searching in our system, they are selecting what they need, they are completing the shopping cart instantly is given to SAP, and then there is a workflow and PO is created and procurement doesn't do anything, 90%. The question to Christoph, so is it a vision or it's reality in our customers?
Okay, so the case what Natalia is mentioning is here this WACKER case. 90%, it's not a new story. It's also not about AI. I mean, AI comes on top. But let's elaborate first how also procurement platforms are working and also working in the last 10, 20 years. I mean, you have your SAP backbone on the bottom, then you have a procurement solution on the top, and you have big complexity in the system. So you have many people, some people are working still in SAP GUI, some are working in Fiori apps, etc. And you have a lot of complexity and missing all this automation. So we have the use case with WACKER. I think we started 2019, and at that time they had automation of like, I don't know, 40%, 45%. And the objective from the beginning is you want to get to 90% in automation, so no touch. It means your purchasing departments don't do operational work. They don't do copy and paste from purchase requisition into purchase order, also supplier allocation, price allocation. This could be also automated. And I'm talking really not yet involving AI, because with AI we get still another efficiency. But you can get to this 90% really also with the tools which are known from the history in the system. So if you do it properly, you can achieve it. Let me give you one example. I had a customer from Mann-Hummel Automotive, and it was around 2018, and they had also automation. He was saying they have this automation with, of course you do it with catalogs. So this is what is the catalog search and shops you are purchasing from, because you have negotiated price list there. And they had a ratio of like 30% automation. So 70% of all the orders were done in outsourcing centers, so procurement centers even. At this time they worked with a third party doing this. And it was huge cost for them. And I promised let's go with Beniering. We will help you to get closer. I was giving him the benchmark 80. I was telling 80% we must get, right? It will not take 6 months, maybe not 12 months, but it will take us some portion of time, let's say 2.5 years to get to 80%. And then we introduced a program, so we have improved the catalog usage, catalog content. We worked on this a lot, and we also introduced a kind of preferred supplier concept. And this preferred supplier concept made it finally up to 1 year. We get from 40 to 65%. So you get your success even with 1 year. And you know, when I talked to him 2-3 years later, this was the procurement director, CPO at this time, and he was saying, you know what, Mr. Moll, we got already 80%. It was like in 2 years. I think today they are at 83, right? So WACKER is having 90%. Now, question, Natalia, to you, why is this 90% so important to organizations?
Well, it's actually very simple. The idea behind the Beniering is to make people use the operational procurement layer as a self-service, right? What means self-service is that procurement does not get involved in the process. And when procurement doesn't get involved, it means that they are free to do other more important things. For example, at WACKER, when I'm talking to the CPO, he's saying that his people are focusing much more on talking to the stakeholders, on anticipating what stakeholders need, what is needed in marketing, what is needed in R&D, what is needed in production tomorrow, day after tomorrow, in 1 year. They can also focus on the supply relationship. They can also focus on inventing very creative cost-saving measures. So instead of completing the data and doing routine things. So that's why the no-touch rate is so important. It's not only a measure of efficiency, but also a measure of cost savings. Now, the question when we are starting with customers, what are the most important decisions that should be made to arrive to such a high level of no-touch, Christoph?
Yeah, so this is the philosophy of Beniering also, that you need a good foundation, which is a procurement platform, and you also need single point of entry for your users, and especially one window. So how will procurement help you when you have to guide the user? Look, you have open this AI here, or go to this shop, open another user interface where you can start chatting, and you have different technologies combined from navigation perspective. From navigation perspective, I want to have everything in one solution, everything on, we call it simply one window, because we all know what it is. It means you enter the system, and on that system you can start your full demand process, from demand to purchasing, even initiating sourcing, and you can run the full process. You have it on one platform. I mean, we know all these platforms, they are called procurement platforms. Now, in our view and our solution, we are sitting on top of SAP systems, of course. We are also, my history is coming from SAP. And the key for us is also knowing how SAP systems are working, also with the user interface and some GUIs. I don't know if some of you know this. They are not so fancy. So we tried also to make the SAP data more beautiful. So that's why we have screens. I mean, here you see examples from Telekom, how they can do purchasing, they can do approval on mobile, so with the transactions, with shopping carts or purchase requisitions. And this UI is really so much key that you can get there to have good usability, and this is also important for automation, because then people know I have to go into the system and I'm guided on the system. So that's the key.
I think one point is creating the one window for any possible requests with no exception. But the second point that is very, very important also, when you are looking for a tool or for operational procurement solution, it's kind of crucial to look at the process end to end. Because these days there are a lot of relatively fancy intake tools, intake is only the entrance, right? But behind the procurement still needs to do manual operations. So this is the second part. And this is where we are succeeding pretty much in operating in a way where the process is completely automated end to end. So what is our secret, Christoph? Maybe you can talk about technology a little bit.
Yeah, I think we will see it on the next slide. So, and that's our secret and also our unique selling point finally. So we are strong in the way how we are communicating with the SAP system in real time. So in some discussions, I'm also saying, look, we are a nice front end for your data that is sitting in SAP. So what you have in SAP? You have purchase orders, purchase requisitions first, purchase orders, you have goods received, you have invoicing, you have the finance module. SAP was built out of finance, right? And that's also why SAP is there, because the finance backbone is the key part of SAP. And now when we started building Veneering Cloud with this procurement platform, we started actually in 2017-18 working on that one. The point was that we wanted to work with the data that is already there and also logic, which is in SAP, and not building a replica somewhere in the cloud. So why should I copy my cost centers somewhere to the cloud? Why should I copy my suppliers into the cloud? Why should I do a ping pong with purchase requisitions, purchase orders in the cloud if everything is in SAP? And that's our secret. We keep the data in SAP. And also we keep this TCO low. So you don't need third-party companies who are monitoring how your ERP system is communicating with your front end. We are the front end, but who is maintaining it and monitoring all this data exchange? All this data flow which is there, it's all being fully automated. So it's not only automated, it's real time. So we get the data in real time. And that's why there is no monitoring and there is no third party in the middle where you need to check if the traffic is correct there. And also to say there is a lot of data what we are also exchanging and providing. So we are also trying to close the gaps that are not delivered by SAP as in standard by default. And of course you cannot have closed all the gaps in SAP because SAP systems are protected behind the firewall. Nobody from the outside world will get access to SAP systems. But when you look in catalogs, in supplier collaboration, in sourcing, you need to communicate with the outside world because you communicate with your business partners. So that's where we stand with Veneering. And Natalia, maybe also, how does the organization have to solve this high no-touch rate? So what's from the organization perspective is needed?
Yes, it's a very good question because in many cases, we human beings are always looking for miracles, right? We are buying a software and somehow it's going to solve all the problems potentially yesterday, right? So we are trying to be a little bit more realistic and down to earth and always say that for achieving really seriously automated process, serious self-services, so serious high no-touch rate, procurement has to do some homework. Bad news, I guess most of you are from procurement. What I mean is that for a requester, a small little lady, to be able to search, to choose, to complete the shopping cart, it doesn't matter with voice or not with voice, category strategy has to be in place, right? So that the person is pointed out at the right buying channel. Contracts have to be negotiated with the suppliers so that a right contract can be chosen. Decisions about putting certain items in stock have to be taken and stock has to be bought, right? So what we are doing usually with customers is we are talking about the category strategy and we are asking them, so which things people are supposed to buy from catalogs? And then we are uploading catalogs. Which items people can buy on a marketplace, and we are opening a marketplace like Amazon or Unite for them. Which things do you have on stock? What are your preferred suppliers for catering, or what are your preferred suppliers for Geröstaufbau. So this is procurement work that needs to be done. Just a couple of days ago, I had a discussion with a person from a very large German company who was saying, well, actually, we don't need any catalogs, we don't need any nothing. AI agent will just go outside and will buy whatever. And then I was thinking, for example, at Deutsche Telekom, Deutsche Telekom has a security standard, for example, for office furniture. So you cannot even buy a chair without corresponding to security standard, which I find very responsible. It's a company that has, close to 100,000 employees. If anybody starts buying any broken chairs from cheap suppliers because AI agent found it on the internet, we run into some problems with the law in many countries, in Germany, first of all. So I think we are still far away from, of course there should be vision, but we are a little bit far away from fancy things. And because companies are responsible and because companies also have a high security standards, not speaking about funny things like SD and lists, right? Still, procurement plays a vital role in creating of content, in defining the content, and only this content helps to create self-services, helps to increase no-touch. Christoph has broken a little bit my script because the plan was to say now we managed to survive 17 minutes without pronouncing word AI, and I managed actually, right? But of course, Beniring, even if it exists for 15 years, we live so long because we are always technologically very advanced, and obviously AI is one of the things that is part of our platform. So what is so special about Beniring AI? Talk to us a little bit, Christoph.
Yeah, it's a long topic. That's why we also left it for the end. I mean, you can imagine we have huge companies behind us. We are running the full procurement, right? When we talk Beniring is working for BSF or for Telekom, for WACKER, we cover really the full procurement process, whatever people are buying. So like we have 500,000 transactions with one company, we have up to 1 million transactions, shopping carts with the other company. And it's running worldwide. When you compare BSF, we have 50 countries, 160 company codes, 5 SAP systems, which are connected to our central procurement platform. This also means that because we are so much in the front, facing all the employees on the customer side, like 30,000 or 60,000 telecom, etc., there are also high expectations on us to get things still better with the help of AI. We have a dedicated AI department. Currently, it's our biggest department even in technology, who are just working and focusing on bringing this AI topics into the cloud. So we have some use cases, and here you see also how our customers, also the big ones who are very pushy, also to get the results, how they are working with us, in which scenarios we have already established on with AI technology. I mean, you know, from when I look also on the market, how the situation is with the startups, there are solutions coming with agents, so you can put an agent here, you can put an agent here, and can put an agent there. But I'm also always asking the question, yeah, but how do I navigate also into this agent, right? Do I use Teams? Do I use Microsoft Copilot and all the different combinations? We, of course, deliver our agents on the backbone of our cloud. It's deeply integrated into the solution. So we have one agent responsible only to find material groups. It's a big challenge in purchasing because you control purchasing by material groups. So we have an agent that is finding the correct material group, independent if you're buying for free text or if you're buying from a catalog or if you're uploading a proposal, right? So there are certain topics taken over by agents. Another agent is taking over the responsibility of a supplier finder. When you start with something, even you upload a proposal or you do a free text request, somebody has to allocate the supplier. So AI can do this pretty good. And because we have the connection to SAP backend systems, we have permanent access to invoicing data, to purchase order data, to material groups, to suppliers, and everything what we need to make AI efficient, we have this data. And our customers know this with us, and they also know that we can deliver everything from the same front-end system. And that's why we are also in this programs with the customers quite heavily to make big improvements on AI. Let me give you a few examples what AIs we have built, our technologies and use cases. So one is, for example, purchasing policy compliance. So as I was saying, you are having a proposal from a supplier, and then it needs to be assessed if this proposal has a good price, if purchasing needs to be still to be involved, or if just the user who received, maybe let's say you have a proposal for Schweißarbeiten. You could get this uploaded to the system, and then it's only 3,500 euro. So we will not start involving procurement, right? Because the purchasing policies or agents which are behind there will take the decision and will say, okay, for this and this category, this pricing and this quality of the proposal, we will not send it to procurement. So for this use case, our agent, which is responsible for purchasing policy, is taking care on it, and he's embedded in the system. Another use case is supplier offer intake. So intake processes, I mean, we know intake, it's everywhere. And it's also especially the case where you're not buying from catalog. I mean, as I was saying before, we try to get automation with catalogs to 80%. And even up to 90%. And we have customers who manage just with catalogs 90%. But not every customer is able to achieve 80-90% with catalogs, because there are some big companies with R&D departments. They are each time they are buying something different, right? And they have huge complex descriptions, specifications, what they are buying. So we will not get just with catalogs 80-90%. We need something on top. But AI can support, so you have intake assistant, you have this chatbot, you start typing in what you're looking for, and you are guided. You will be also asked, do you have a proposal? If you have a proposal from a supplier, PDF proposal, just drag and drop, put it inside, and get it uploaded and have it built into a shopping cart finally. So you can out of a proposal, we have tested huge proposals with up to 100 and more items which are on this proposal, and they were pretty well scanned by AI technology to make a list of the shopping cart. What's the simplification for users? I mean, the story was coming from Telekom. They were saying, if we have our buyers or buyer assistants who are just typing in from this PDF document, these 80 line items into the SAP system, they make errors, right? So you're never 100% correct, or it's tough also for the people to do copy and paste of this PDF documents. And this is what AI is taking care, right? So you just have a scan of this proposal and you can get this uploaded. Or another story, also having comparison of proposals. So price verification, maybe also connected to this one. Also a use case which is coming from Telecom. So once you upload the proposal, you also might want to compare if the prices which are in this proposal are a good benchmark for you, or if there are other alternatives and cheaper prices on the platform. So these are things and logic which is taken care by AI agents. So I think in fact today we have 15, 16 agents, and when Natalia is in discussions with customers, they are asking, that's all from Beniering, but I think there's open end, right? So with every new customer, we are getting new ideas, new agents are coming in. So it's a not ending story.
Thank you, Christoph. I think the most important is really what you said in the beginning, that instead of building a separate layer of AI, what we are doing, our AI is inside of our platform, so it's just taking the users to the next level of efficiency, next level of automation, and it's not something on the side or on top of the solution. I think this is relatively important for our customers. So the time is slowly running out, and I just wanted to make a couple of conclusions, a couple of takeaways. First of all, what we see from our very, very large German customers is that no-touch rate is really like polar star in operational procurement digitalization. And our advice is to look at this as a kind of a destination, not a small road, but as a destination. And if you define no-touch rate as your destination, the road will build itself. You will do the right things on this road. And obviously, you will be able to gain attention of your management because this is something that is really important for CPOs and CFOs. Of course, we talked a little bit about the fact that technology alone is not going to make miracles. As much as we all want miracles, procurement needs to be involved and procurement needs to do homework in defining the channels, in defining the category strategy. And our advice, if you want to do a serious digitalization, not just the surface intake story, look, when you are evaluating technology, look at the end-to-end process until your SAP, until the purchase order, until the invoice, until the good receipt. That's where the real automation comes from, and that's really where elimination of extra work for procurement, extra work for IT is coming. What we see that intake only, of course, fixes the life of the requester, but not really fixes the life of procurement so much. And with this, we still have actually 3 minutes. If there are any questions, we could answer questions. Otherwise, you can find us at our booth for any discussions, follow-up questions, challenging us as well, if you're interested. Thanks for your attention.
Many thanks.
All right, are there any questions? Yes.
You talked about that AI can assign orders to commodity groups. Can AI also create commodity groups based on E-class or UNSPC?
Create for your company,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it will work because, but we will need some input to get into the system as a knowledge, right? So what is the knowledge you would take in your case? We can take this E-class knowledge, but if you can give us the history, what you have in your ERP system, this is the second knowledge. And building out of this one knowledge and the second knowledge, it would be possible also to build your recommendation for a classification system and schema.
Okay. And another question. How does onboarding of suppliers and catalogs work?
Typically, we initiate it with a ticket system on our side, so we are inviting them. So we are following the supplier onboarding process from a ticket perspective. So we have ping pong, all the chat with his questions, so he can raise problems. And we are working as Beneering as a first level support for suppliers, right? So whenever we start supplier onboarding, we get the list from the customers, and we start this onboarding process. So there is a supplier self-registration, there is a ticket connected to it, so for all the questions that you have in the onboarding process. And finally, we are waiting until all the problems are resolved, and then the catalog is published. And we have just to mention, we have for the big customers, sometimes we have hosted like 1,500 catalogs, 30 million, 40 million items. This is happening in huge organizations, and even for the smaller organizations, we are hosting like 2 to 5 million items, even for smaller organizations.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So, yeah, thank you,
Thank you very
Natalia
much.
and Christoph.
Thank you very much.
Bye.